All right, so what we did last time is we did the foot roll. What I'd like to do now is rig the jacket. So for some reason, my jacket has those gray lines mean it's locked. I'm also going to go through and do edit, delete all by type, non-deformer history just to clean it, and then just optimize my scene. I tend to do this pretty often just to make sure it's all on track. Another thing I want to do is for my root here, I just want to create a controller so that I can eventually just hide these joints and move this around. So I'm going to hold spacebar, go to create NURBS primitive, and then just do a circle. I'm going to hit R. Actually, I'm going to leave that on the floor. I'll use it as my master controller later. So hold shift. Let's hide my top and my bottom for a second. And I'm going to hold V, snap that to here, hit R, scale that down. And then I'm going to do modify freeze transformations. There we go, freeze transformations. And then that should be good. Now, what I can do is select that root, this, and then that root. And then I can go up here to constraint, and I can open up, I'm going to click the line to undock that. But I want to do a maintain offset, and then just hit apply. And what a point constraint allows you to do is as I move this around, the hips will follow. Orientation has to do with the rotation. So I'm going to hold shift, select that, and then hit apply. And now, when I go to move this, let's bring the bottom back. I can actually rotate like that, and I can move it around. All right, so that's extremely helpful. Let's go ahead and do the torso. I tend to rig this separately, skin it, and then attach it to that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to hold spacebar, just go to my front view, and then go to skeleton, create joints. And I tend to do 6 spine joints, 7 if you include the root. So I'm just going to click right above the pelvis to about here. I put one where the navel is. And actually, let me hit enter, and let's make that size 5 because I want that to be a little bit smaller. So I'm holding shift, just going up like this. Here's, let's go one here. One more in the center here. We want it to generally be on a subdivision curve. I should have lined up the t-shirt better, but one into the center of the chest, and then just one to be the base of the neck. And I'm going to name this, like normally it's like neck or neck root. And then this will just be like S1. And then just go down that way. S2. Let's get that right on the line. S3. S4. And then S5. And then you can just sort of parent them down like this. So let's lock the top and the bottom. And it's like that. This guy, P as in Paul, or Patricia, or Park, as I go all the way down. Let's go to our right view, and what I want to do is create a chain that goes up the elbow. So I'll just do that kind of the generic way. So starting at the wrist here, to the elbow, to the shoulder, center of the shoulder here. And let's see where that ended up. So that ended up about there. I'm going to line this up like this, pressing D, or actually these ones, just if I'm going in this direction, I can just kind of shift them over. And then I can just type select dash. The dash is next to the 0, high, to select all of those. Let's try that again. Select dash high. Oh, actually, it should be here because that's where we started. Dash high. There we go. And I'll just make these 5 as well. And I will parent this. Actually, what we need is we need one more joint. Let's say Control D to duplicate. You know what? We'll do one more from here. So this is a good way to learn that you can actually click on these guys and then create another one, but it's going to mess up the whole kit and caboodle. And then I'm going to parent this. But before I do that, let's actually make sure this is 5 in radius, and you are also 5 in radius. And I'm going to parent that here. This is L underscore clav. L underscore shoulder. L underscore elbow. L underscore wrist. And then I'm going to parent this to my clav here. And I'm going to just make sure that it is lined up in the center here, which looks pretty good. And having that clav selected, I'm going to go to skeleton and then just go down to mirror joints. And it looks like it just mirrored only that joint. Did I not parent this? This should be parented here. I think that was my problem. Somehow that broke, and then this should be parented up here. So now when I rotate this, yeah, so it was a little bit backwards. That's why it kind of got screwed up. Okay. Yeah, because what we do is when we select this, we want it to go all the way down. So let's actually delete this clav and then do this and then do skeleton, and then we will do mirror joints. Boop. I'm going to select this joint here, and then I'm going to select the jacket. And then do skin and then bind skin. I'm going to do that geodesic vexel on this because there's a lot of closeness here. And I'm going to go a little higher than 256. I'm going to do 512, and that's going to give me a better range. I'm going to save this. Let's see, do I have a good rigging spine? I think it's a good number. I'm going to hit apply, or I'm going to hit bind skin, and I'm going to pause the video. All right, it took me, according to this, I don't know if it matters. I don't know. Well, it took like less than a minute, so it wasn't too bad. But let's test this out. So as I move this, you can see I still get some nasty pulling, but other areas like this, I'm going to hold E. You can see I get some, it's not too bad. Like the jacket bends pretty cool, and it makes the cloth folds look nice. Same thing as before. I'm gonna show you guys how to, we'll do this one with the paint weights tool. Now, after I've skinned that, what I tend to do is then I will parent it down to the root by pressing P, and that way it'll follow around. Now, I want to show you how I rig spines. The root, I like it to have its own thing to just control the hips, and I want this to move independently. So what I tend to do is I go to skeleton and I go to create IK spline handle tool. And I go here and then I click in between. Now what you'll notice in our outliner is it actually created an IK handle up here, and it also created at the base, let's see, which curve is this one? I usually have to rename these like spine curve. Let's go to here's our root. Let's select one of these joints so we know where we're at. Here's the SS, which really should just be, is that S5? Man, I should name these spine. It's kind of a cop-out. Okay, this curve here represents this curve. So I'm going to just name this spine underscore curve. And just bear with me for a second. If I right-click out here and I go to Control Vertice, what you'll notice, and let's make sure I can't select the joints. And actually, in a second, I really should be setting up. You can see it gives me a really nice bend in the spine. Let's bring this back. You can see here I get a really nice bend in the spine. Ooh, 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 ooh. So that's like a nice, really nice way of, we'll create controllers or handles for all this good stuff. And then I can't like, see how this kind of locks that root in place? But this helps me to animate that. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is, when I created that, because he's more of a organic guy, he doesn't necessarily need a lot of, I'm going to make an IK and FK both, like, because it's more of an IK spine, and I'm going to include an FK, but he's a little bit more on the stylized realistic. So I don't want a ton of bends, but when I go to create that spline, you can actually, if you're doing more of a cartoony character, you can actually go in here and adjust this to go higher. It'll add more of these points. Let me show you the points I'm talking about. It's this little point here. Because I only have two. There's one here and there's one down here. Or no, there's two inside. So you can see I have one on the top and then one on the bottom. And that gives me, you know, something like that. And I might only need one. I think for now I'm going to save this video here, and then I'm going to stop here, and then we'll continue on in finishing up the spine and the shoulders and stuff later in the next video.